Hey guys, welcome to the Heroes of Newerth map editor tutorial. This is the tutorial for the beta, and we'll jump right in. To get rid of this, you just click. Some people sit there waiting for it to load. Don't waste your time. And the first thing to do is look at this file up here. File, new map, load map, save and save as. We want a load map because what you want to do is go to test simple. A good way to start your map is to open up test simple, or even we'll open up test. And it basically allows you to start with a bit of a template, and this will actually work. Whereas if you start your own map, or just where that green grass was when we first started, sometimes there's a few errors and you gotta get on the forums and ask why your map doesn't work. And just do this, it's a lot easier. It already starts with the towers and that sort of thing. You can move them around. I'll show you how later, but first let's go to the deform tool. Deform tool's got raise or lower, and this first one just raises the ground. And to change that, and I'm moving the camera with WASD and the scroller in and out. Hold the scroller left, right, up, down. It's pretty simple. Because this is just little raising, change that with brush, and this brush tool's for everything. It's really handy. So I can do that, and what we can do is make like a little bit of some foothills. And these are pretty handy. Make it a bit smaller. Something like this. Some foothills, and behind it we might have a bit of a mountain. We'll make a real big chunky mountain. Something like that's pretty cool. Alright, so that's the raise and lower, and you can right click to lower. See that? But then it goes too far down. But that's alright. Now flatten, what flatten does is it I'll raise a few things here like that, and flatten just picks where I choose, like here, and just makes everything that level. See that? But it's pretty handy to make like a bit of a base on top of a mountain or something like that. See how it's nice and flat, and I can just keep making it bigger. Cut. Now cut will get what you've made and just chop it up. It won't do much to already ground that you haven't touched, but anything you've raised like that makes it look pretty weird. Smooth, that'll get rid of the jagged edges, so it'll try and make everything look rounded and more realistic a little bit. So you look, instead of being just totally pointy, it's a bit nicer like that. And I mean, a good way to look at smooth is to chuck noise on, the last tool, and noise chops up all the terrain, makes it look really evil and cool. Like that. We'll get smooth now. Where was it? There. Just smooths it out. I mean, if you hold it down long enough, it'll get rid of it, but I like to just tap the mouse button, and now I've got a real, rocky sort of uneven footing, and that's more realistic than just straight flat ground, So the last bit is clear, and you can just get a big tool like that and just clear out everything. I mean, I don't know if it clears. Yep, it'll even clear if you've dug in, so that's really handy. So that's basically it for the deform, and don't worry about the brush strength or clear height. Now paint, I use paint quite a bit, as everyone needs to. There's colors and there's texture, and colors isn't very handy, I don't think. Like if you go to colors, and I'll just get a brown, something like that. That's fairly brown. I'll just show you. That's what it thinks brown is. Like basically almost every color turns out to be black on your map, and it doesn't look very nice, I don't think. And I'll show you what I mean on the mini map. Like that, it's just a big black dot. And I mean, if you're actually playing, I've tested playing maps that have been painted in, trying to make different textures and colors sort of thing, and it just doesn't work. It's too dark, you can't see. So I try to leave the painting alone. There's a few good ways to use paint. I'll show you a bit later, but for now, get out of that. For now, just don't touch the paint part, the color in paint I mean, but texture is really important. So texture, there's two layers. We'll stick with the first layer for now, and we'll make our brush a bit smaller. There we go. And there's B's and there's G's. B's are the Hellborn, and G's are Legion. So we'll go to Legion, and we'll try and make a mossy path. That'll be nice. And I know that it's going to be a bit weird because we've got the Hellborn neutral ground here, but we'll try and make it look nice anyway. So we'll maybe curve around this mountain and then the path curves away, something like that. And that's how you do a path, and then we might get a path edge, make it look a bit nicer, realistic. Let's see if I can make that smaller. There we go. We'll make a real small path edge. Something like that. Just do it real roughly and quickly. We'll do the other side as well. Like there. See that? Alright, so after that you want to look at layer 2, because if we look closely at this, see how they're really rough edges? See right here is really straight and hard, and it doesn't look realistic at all. Look at that, it's just a straight line. It's like they're all squares. So you can get out layer 2, and look at this, it's just a smoothing tool, and now it looks a lot nicer where I'm just tapping the mouse and moving along, and that just makes the path look really nice. And it's a bit thin. I probably could have made it a bit thicker, but it would just make it look smooth and not all weird. See, here's a good example. See the squares, and we'll go over it, and now it's just, it kind of fades in, so it's a lot better. Alright, that's enough. Don't have to show you too much. You get the idea. You can do it on both sides, whatever. Have grass on the other side. That looks a bit weird. I've mucked up, but you get the picture. That's enough of paint. The next tool is probably the most important tool. It's models. So basically, you've got a team, and we'll try and make a Legion tower. So you got to go to Legion, and you've got to go to building tower, and this is really annoying scrolling down this thing. It's hard to find everything, but for now you've got to do it. Building Legion tower, and you want to use the create button here. There's create, select, I'll go through them later. We want to use create. So let's put a tower right on this corner here, like that, right? And to unselect it, or to try and make something else, you don't just click out of it because you're still in create. So I'll delete that. You got to use the select button. So we're selected in create, and then you go select, like that. Now what happens is, whenever you create something, the team goes back to none. That's a bit annoying, so we'll change it back to Legion, and now it'll stay as Legion. So if we left it as none, it would have just attacked everyone. That's pretty annoying, unless you want that in your map. Now I'll just move along. Translate, this just moves it around. That's the translate XY button. It's very handy. Translate Z, you won't be needing this unless you move it over here, and it even moves up with it. So I mean, you won't be using that translate button very often because you don't need floating towers. Rotate yaw, I mean, this is pretty important. Like when you place Kongor or something like that, you want him facing the right way. You don't want to be attacking him in the bum. So this is a pretty handy tool, not for towers, they seem pretty the same either way. And the next two, you won't be using really. You get the picture. This scale is kind of cool, but I don't use it. I tried to make Kongor really big on my map, and it just reverts back because it didn't like that. So we'll just delete it and just quickly make one more. Create tool, there we go. It went back to none. Go Legion, select, awesome. Alright, so now there's the tree mode. Tree mode brings up this little tool here. I like to get it out of there. It's hard to click there because of the pop down menu. But B's is the Hellborn, and T is Legion. So we want some Legion trees. Go create, and there's these nice autumn trees. We'll just get a few along our little creation here, and see how it won't let me click there. Like a hero can easily walk through there. We're trying to block him from walking through. It won't work. So what you do is you go to the translate, and we can actually move these around manually. And a quick way to make a forest or anything quick is the copy paste tool, and you've got to have translate XY selected. Hold shift, and you just move that around, and see now we've got a really handy way of kind of making this this barrier to heroes. We don't want them to be able to just wander through to the next area. We want to keep them on the path, you know. So this is really turned out to be a really nice little path we've made, and it doesn't look too bad. You zoom in, see it's all faded in nicely. Looks realistic.